Ain't Misbehavin'. Written by Kennedy Brown. EmmaParaLeeInc, where the streets tell their own truth. Character introductions. Iona Yana K. Morrison. The main event, narrator, professional smart mouth. Iona is the girl who was never the problem. The teachers just had a low tolerance for brilliance delivered with an attitude. A 3.8 GPA wrapped in opinion, nerve, and zero filter. She is the daughter of a school vice principal who loved her enough to ship her off to a boarding school in the same zip code she already lived in. Let that sink in. Iona doesn't need new friends. She has Rory, Antonia, and Reese, and together they ran a homework ring so efficient it should have been a Fortune 500 elective. History? That's Yana's lane. She walked into Greer Academic Center like she was auditioning for a role she didn't want, posted "This is to be my Alcatraz" on Facebook, went to sleep, and woke up to find out she'd been enrolled as a live-in student. Iona doesn't wave red flags. She archives them and keeps it moving. The girl is sharp, funny, culturally rooted, self-aware enough to know she doesn't always know, and she will absolutely find out the tea before the day is over. Kathleen K. Morrison. Iona's mama, vice principal, will not repeat herself. K. Morrison is the kind of black woman who vacuums the carpet, tells you your face cracked when it hit the floor, and dares you to cry about it. She is vice principal of the very school she pulled her daughter out of, which means Iona's antics were not just embarrassing at home, they were embarrassing on the clock. K is not cruel. She is precise. She gave Iona a whole slumber party and let her think it was a peace offering, then told her at checkout it was a farewell party. The woman plays chess while everyone else is still trying to understand checkers. She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't need to. The foot in the ass is always implied, and Iona knows it. CKY Morrison. The older brother, Iona's ride, unknowing bait. CKY is the big brother who showed up to give Iona a ride and accidentally became the most desirable piece of fresh meat to land at Greer Academic Center since the vending machine got restocked. He dropped his sister off and drove straight into Winter's crosshairs without so much as a warning label. CKY doesn't have many lines yet, but he doesn't need them. His entire job in this story is to exist fine enough to cause chaos, and he is doing that beautifully. Rosa. Dorm guide, mouthpiece, blunt in the stairwell. Rosa is from Barnwell, South Carolina, the boondocks by her own testimony, and she has not one filter, not one regret, and not one flight of stairs she will willingly climb. She was mid-blunt when Iona arrived, walked her through a damp, creepy gym shortcut she also personally feared, and delivered an entire character breakdown on every significant student before Iona could blink. Rosa is that girl who says what everyone is thinking, says it louder than necessary, and then dares the room to be offended. She reminds Iona of her homegirl Reese, which is either a comfort or a warning, probably both. Rosa is hilarious, loyal in her own chaotic way, and genuinely useful once you accept that she is allergic to stares and subtlety equally. Mandy. Dorm roommate, chaos agent, the white girl who will also catch a case. Mandy walked up, hugged Iona immediately, and within 60 seconds announced she used to put hands on her mama. She said it like a resume line. Iona was horrified. Rosa was annoyed in the way people are annoyed by a story they've heard 47 times. Mandy's green eyes gleam when she's deep in gossip, and she delivered the entire Winter Amp attempted arson plot with the energy of a true crime podcast host who moonlights at a beauty supply store. She was so captivating that Iona didn't even notice Mandy was white until Rosa said, "Discover the black man," and the whole scene snapped into focus. Mandy has no governor on her mouth, no ceiling on her drama, and a very real threat game. She is the roommate you never asked for and cannot imagine living without. Winter. The pretty mean girl, resident fire starter, amp situationship. Winter is the girl who walks into a bathroom and immediately clocks the new girl's ride as potential relationship material. She is beautiful, she knows it, she uses it, and she is precisely as dangerous as she looks. She and her on-again man Amp hatched a plan to smoke out a love rival that involved a baseball bat, army fatigues, a black ski mask, and the world's worst alibi. And the only reason they are both in Greer Academic Center instead of a courthouse is because Ms. Daisy Smith was on her porch reading a book and had good eyes. Winter does not take accountability. She takes notes, holds grudges, and references her own attractiveness as a defense. She called Amp's alleged side piece a glasses-wearing brace-toothed troll and then said that ain't nobody none of my business without a single ounce of irony. Winter is a force of nature in highlight and a liability in the dark. Amp Irby. Man on campus, co-defendant's full-time trouble. Amp Irby is 1/3 of the unofficial trifecta of cool boys at Greer Academic Center, alongside Tyshawn Williams and Rodney Boyd, 3 separate men on campus somehow rolled into one shared reputation. Amp has more girls than a ladies get-in free invitation and the judgment of someone who thought fake hero act plus baseball bat plus army fatigues was a solid plan. He and Winter are the kind of couple that makes everyone else exhausted to witness. Rosa disapproves on principle. Mandy has opinions she will share unprompted. Amp himself has yet to say a word on the page, which, given his track record, might actually be for the best. The Hood synopsis. So picture this: Iona K. Morrison, smart, fine, opinionated, and impossible to shut up in a classroom, gets transferred out of Greer High not because she was failing, but because her mama was the vice principal and Iona's mouth was reflecting on the family brand. Her daddy put his foot down. Her mama co-signed. And Iona took her frustration directly to Facebook like any self-respecting teenager would, tagged herself in Greer Academic Center's group photo, and posted that it was her Alcatraz. Then she went to sleep thinking she had an escape plan. She did not have an escape plan. What she had was a farewell party disguised as a sleepover, 2 parents who had been plotting in whispers the whole time, and a first-class ticket to boarding school residency, in the same city she already lived in. Her own mother told her to sweep her face up off the carpet. Her own father laughed. Iona's black ass got to moving. Alcatraz, but make it co-ed. Greer Academic Center is not what Iona expected. It's actually beautiful, dorm-style, and packed with more black girls than a love and hip-hop casting call, which was a whole surprise on its own. Her first guide is Rosa, a Barnwell girl who is either buzzed or built different, refuses stairs on principle, and walked Iona through a creepy, damp gym shortcut while casually admitting she was scared of it. Rosa starts delivering receipts immediately, names, faces, backstories, and one very unhinged tale about a couple named Winter and Amp that involved a fake neighborhood hero plot, a baseball bat, army fatigues, and a retired neighbor named Ms. Daisy Smith who was on her porch reading a book at the exact wrong moment. Or the exact right moment, depending on whose freedom you care about. The roommate situation is a lot. Then comes Mandy, white girl, green eyes, hugs strangers on contact, and opened her mouth with "I used to put hands on my mama" before Iona had even put her luggage down. Iona's whole face said everything. Rosa looked like a woman who had heard this monologue many times. Mandy didn't care. She kept going. Mandy always keeps going. She narrated the Winter Amp arson conspiracy like she had a podcast, complete with character names, a pregnancy allegation, a case of mistaken identity involving a Jasmine Wofford versus Jasmine Walford, and a dramatic conclusion where Ms. Daisy Smith saved someone's house with a Kindle and good peripheral vision. Iona sat on those bleachers with her mouth wide open. She had wanted to go back to Greer High. Now she needed to stay just to find out what happens next. New girl, new rules, new problems. When Winter finally shows up in the ladies' room, she walks in clocking Iona's brother CKY as a romantic prospect before she's even introduced herself. Iona gives her the name and the brother's relationship status. Winter says hook a sister up. Mandy says what about Amp? Winter calls Amp a troublemaker, the same Amp she co-authored a conspiracy with, and Mandy, bless her chaotic heart, reminds Winter whose fault that trouble actually was. Winter retaliates by calling the other girl a glasses-wearing brace-toothed troll and following it up with, "But that ain't nobody none of my business." The last bell rings. Iona is not ready for any of this. She had planned to give it a month. Then get out. That plan, like every other plan Iona Morrison has made inside these walls, is already in serious trouble. What this book is really about, ain't Misbehavin', is about what happens when a girl who has always belonged somewhere gets dropped into a place she didn't choose, and finds out that belonging isn't about the school, the zip code, or the plan. It's about the people who make you spit out your drink laughing, the roommates who confess things that horrify you, the mean girls who are funnier than they deserve to be, and the slow, undeniable realization that the place you were sent to as punishment might be exactly where you needed to land. Iona Morrison did not ask for Greer Academic Center. But Greer Academic Center, clearly, asked for her. EmmaParaLeeInc, where the streets tell their own truth.